Alright, everybody. Welcome back. It's that time of the week again. I don't really know what that time of the week means because I do this practically every day at this rate this year. It's time for more BeamNG action, I know. This is the third event this week. I have never done this many BeamNG events in 1 week. Actually, I should check that. I don't think I have. I think this is my first time doing more than 2 BeamNG events in a week. I mean, I've done, like, multiple day events, like World Finals, like, 2 or 3 days before, but I don't think I've ever done one singular show 3 separate days. Or, sorry, 3 singular shows 3 separate days. So that's something new. Today, we are returning to the Destruction Series, the Monster Jam Destruction Series, the big tour, basically, the Stadium Series here on the channel, with the 16-truck lineup that does all the really big venues. With that being said, points are looking interesting. So, a lot is going to be influenced by points here. How hard drivers drive, the order drivers drive in each competition. There are quite a few things that are impacted by the current point standing. So, without any further ado, let's just get through this here. Your current points leader is Jon Zimmer Jr., terminal velocity with 37 points. And second is Ryan Anderson, son of a digger, with 33 points. In third place, Weston Anderson, Bog Hog, with 32. In fourth place, there's a tie between Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger and Zack, Garner and Wildside, both with 31 points. In sixth place is Koehler and Mayhem with 29 points. Seventh is Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack, 28 points. Eighth, Jim Koehler and Avenger with 27 points. Ninth, Camden Murphy, Classroom Crusher with 26 points. 10th, Bari Musawwir and Zombie, 25 points. 11th, Mike Pagliarulo, Excaliber, 24 points. 12th, Blake Ranger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, 20 points. Tie for 13th between Colt Stevens, Thunder Roris, and Koehler the Black Pearl, both with 18 points. And 15th, John Gordon and the Bad Company, making his return with 15 points. 15th with 15 points, that's kind of funny. And in last place, 16th place, Bryce Kenny, Tech Deck Rec Deck, with only 13 points so far. So the possible amount of points per event on this series is 48 because it's 16 trucks, 3 competitions. So Jon Zimmer Jr. was only 11 points out from a perfect event, which is not all that far out. However, Bryce Kenny only got 13 points out of a possible 48. So this is evidently going to be a very competitive series. It already is from week 1. And we're going to get started here with Bryce Kenny and the Tech Deck Rec Deck in the timed racing competition. Like said, overall series standings will impact the order that drivers go in these competitions. So Bryce is going to be opening timed racing, but we actually have a bit of a different format here for timed racing. Obviously, when I do normal track styles like this, a normal St. Louis style, I don't like to just follow the track, you know, one-on-one, because that's no fun in timed racing. There's nothing except, you know, driving around a little bit. So Bryce Kenny here, before his real pass, we're going to send the Tech Deck Rec Deck out there to demonstrate what the racing course is going to look like here, and then Bryce will do his real pass. We're going to time this first pass to get a gauge for kind of what a pass roughly should look like time-wise, because we have not done that yet. I'm saying behind the scenes, there has been no timing yet. So, yeah, here comes the demonstrational pass from the Tech Deck Rec Deck. So they're going to start here on the other side of the step up. They're going to take it high. They're going to go around. They could pick either lane they want. It really doesn't matter. Go around. Now it's kind of like a standard inverted St. Louis style. They're going to come this way to the back side of the racing lane at the end of the straightaway. They're going to make sure to cross that line right there. Come around into the other racing lane opposite of the one that they already hit, and then it will be a standard St. Louis style pass from there. So this is just the demonstrational pass for Bryce Kenny. This is not his real competitive pass, and that time for the Tech Deck Rec Deck on the demonstration is 39 seconds, 0.94. So roughly 40 seconds is something that you could be expecting on this track. Now obviously Bryce wasn't driving at 100% there, because you don't want to waste the truck on a not even real pass, but 40 seconds does look like that number to roughly be looking for here as we get started with the first competition. Yes, welcome to the stream, Roblox guy. We are in timed racing currently. So right there we saw a demonstration of what racing passes are going to look like on this track. And you actually got here just in time. The event is starting right now. You actually got here right at the start of the show, so great timing for you, because the action all starts right now with the real racing pass from Bryce Kenny. Sorry, took a quick pause there. Tried to adjust some settings that I think might have been adding to some lag here. So ideally, we should be running more ideally now. Alright, let's get that truck fired back up. Alright, Bryce Kenny in the Tech Deck Rec Deck. He is fired and ready to go. Remember, drivers will only get one real racing attempt here in timed racing. And Bryce Kenny's up first. Now, Bryce Kenny, sitting last in points, has the most pressure on him coming into this competition because he really can't afford to be losing out on more points. Immediately taking that turn very well. I'd say maybe a little bit too tight, but regardless, I think it is not going to be the worst pass we'll see tonight so far. If he can keep it consistent, I think we might see a pretty decent time for the Tech Deck Rec Deck. Again, we don't really know what a decent time looks like. We're just trying to look for the cleanest passes we can get. And Bryce Kenny coming out here up first. Let's see what he can do. Taking it into the red lane, crossing that finish line, and the time for Bryce Kenny as we kick off the competitive portion of timed racing is a 38.99. Again, a 38.99 kicking off timed racing. I'm not sure what the name of the map is. I downloaded this map good 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm not too sure what to tell you there. It's called like Arlington 2023 Custom or something like that. That's about all I got. Yeah, 2023 Arlington Custom. That's all I got for you there. Alright, let's get back into the action here. Coming up next, making his Destruction Series return after taking 2025 off with Monster Jam, it's Jon Gordon, Bad Company. 1 second here as we prepare to send out Jon Gordon. And here he comes. So fans, welcome to the track. Jon Gordon, Bad Company. 1 second here. Okay, just had to make sure I had that right thing on. Sometimes I accidentally keep the timed racing screen up and you're not able to see the passes or the freestyles. That's a pretty common error here, so I wanted to make sure that wasn't an issue. And Jon Gordon is going to get his pass started here. Remember, drivers can choose between blue and red lane to start their pass. They do have that option, so I'm going to be interested to see when drivers start opting for that red lane first. Jon Gordon and the Bad Company get started here, going up and over that step-up ramp. Big speed in the straightaway, definitely bigger speed than we saw from Bryce. And he's going to cut that turn a lot more smoothly. So Bryce got to be nervous right now because he really needs these points from timed racing. But Jon Gordon is doing a much better job so far, I'd say, at just making sure this pass stays clean. Ooh, he cut that super sharp. Ooh, okay, it was almost really good for him, but unfortunately it really messed him up. Got kind of wacky with the steering there at the end of that pass. Not sure what that was. He's going to take big speed across the finish line, but whatever he did there at the end messed him up a lot because his time is a 40.41. We actually already did SoFi Stadium. SoFi was the first stop of the series. You can see that in the stream recaps. I will say we probably will be covering Anaheim, just not quite yet because on my end, I have to wait for the people on Beam Monsters to make the tracks before I can use them. And Anaheim in real life hasn't happened yet, so I don't think there's going to be any BeamNG maps made for it quite yet. So I just have to wait for those BeamNG maps to get made before I can determine where I'm going. But Anaheim is definitely on the list of places I would like to be going this year. Now coming up next, the Pirate Man, Cole Vennard, and the Black Pearl. So Cole Vennard, no stranger to a Monster Jam truck. He has been doing this for over 10 years now. He knows how to pilot a machine. Even drove Gravedigger 11 years ago, so evidently he knows his monster jam trucks, and he's getting started here. Wow. He's going to take much bigger air over that step up than we saw from Bryce and Jon. It looks like he's getting a little bit tripped up here in that first straightaway. Going to be recovering a lot of speed, though. Interestingly, he's going to opt in for that same lane as Bryce rather than doing some more experimenting with the other lane. And I think that's kind of just a comfort thing, you know. You're going to be more comfortable on the side that got the faster pass previously. And, well, that wouldn't have happened to be John Gordon's pass. He had the worst time so far. Ooh, Colvinard cutting that turn tight, trying to make up some time. Man, I don't know what it is, but Bryce Kenny is remaining untouched right now in racing because Colvinard and the Black Pearl put down a 40.77. I thought that was a pretty smooth pass, but thus far, no one has been able to get close to Bryce Kenny. He is still 2 seconds apart from these other passes we've been seeing. The list of stops for the year, it's really usually out of my control. I just work with whatever gets made that works for the series. So, you know, as much as I'd like to do, you know, the whole array of stadiums that actually get covered by Monster Jam, only a small percent of those get made in BeamNG, and I have no way to know what those will be. So I just work with whatever I end up getting, but I always like to do Anaheim, I always like to do Houston, those are both big ones. We haven't done San Diego yet, that's a pretty big one. Obviously, Salt Lake City is going to be where the series ends. Ideally, I'd like to see a Glendale. Not sure if that's going to happen, but yeah. I will say other series already have planned stops, like the Speedway series and the Send It series. We're going to be seeing Fargo later this year. And even on the Arena series, we're going to be seeing Rosemont and Albuquerque. There's a lot of stops planned, just not for the Destruction series quite yet, because it's still pretty early on into the season. Colt Stevens coming up next. So far, no one has been able to touch Bryce Kenny's time. Colt Stevens has the opportunity to do so with easily the fastest start to a pass we have seen yet. Maybe not as fast as John Gordon's start, but if he can stay this consistent, then this might be good for Colt Stevens. Let's see what he can do. Colt has yet to do too good in any racing competitions this year, but he can change all of that right now. Well, he could change it, but he's not going to. He's going to largely oversteer right there, trying to make up big speed in this last push of an effort. Not sure if he's going to be able to. Oversteers in the turn, and that time for the Thunder Roars is going to come out as a 41.41. Not even close there for Colt Stevens. Got a 41.41. Tough break because, you know, I'm sure he did want to make up some points tonight being so far behind in the series standings, but you got to be on your A game at all times on the series. Just one event not getting it done is enough to really mess you up, and Colt Stevens not going to be able to break his curse here today. So far, obviously, though, we still do have 2 more competitions to go after the conclusion of this one. And I think those are the competitions where some of those competitors out here will shine a little bit more. Coming up next, behind the wheel of Monster Mutt Dalmatian in his first ever Stadium Series. Well, not here on the BeamNG circuit, actually. This is his second, technically third consecutive Stadium Series here on the BeamNG circuit. It's Blake Granger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So we did see Blake in the 2024 season, but only for 1 or 2 events after Tom Meents got injured and couldn't compete anymore. Aside from that, Blake did the full 2025 season and placed among the top 5. So Blake Granger should be performing pretty well this season, but he's actually sitting at the very bottom of the point standings right now. Not at the very bottom, but he's in the bottom 5 right now, which is very uncharacteristic for Blake Granger. So he's going to have to really make up some points here, and even just this one racing pass right now is going to count into a large part of that. Ooh, see, he's taking these turns really wide while Bryce Kenny took them really tight. I think that's going to be the determining factor here. is how tight can you be in your corners without oversteering like we saw right there, because that will only slow you down even more. So Blake Granger, oh, see, he's going to oversteer again. Doesn't follow the course, so that's going to be a 5-second penalty. The Monster Mutt Dalmatian not figuring it out this year. Not too sure what's going on for Blake Granger. The time is a 42.45, but that's going to be a 5-second penalty. So it is a 47.45 for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Tough break there because, I mean, like said, Blake really needs every point he can get at this time in the season if he wants to even come close to his performance last year. Right now, he only has 20 points to his name, and the leader has almost double that. So he's really got to figure his things out. Coming up next, not a racer, but he can get it done. It's Mike Pagliarulo, Excaliber. So Mike, no stranger to the stadium circuit. He has been on the stadiums for 2 seasons now. Well, 1 season and the 2026 season. So he did some stuff in 2024 too. But this is the year that I really am expecting some improvement in all areas of Mike's performance. Well, right off the bat, we're not seeing that here. He's messing up very quickly on his racing pass. Like said, racing not really for Mike Pagliarulo. Ideally, though, I'd like to see him, you know, smooth out for the rest of this pass. He's really not doing that, man. He is all over the place. He is already at 30 seconds, so he'd have to do the whole rest of the course in about 12 seconds to compete with the other drivers we've seen, and I just don't think that's really possible. He's going to cut that last turn a little bit more nicely, but still way too tight. That time for the Excaliber, a 44.32. That is now going to put him in 5th place. These drivers just are not able to figure it out. Yeah, I am doing the World Finals in Salt Lake City. It's going to be the same track style as we saw in 2025. The BeamNG World Finals are always just 1 year behind. So last season, we saw the World Finals in SoFi Stadium in BeamNG. This season, we're going to be seeing it in Salt Lake City with that 2025 style track. Next year, we're going to see it in Salt Lake City with the 2026 style track, and so on. Coming up next, Bari Musawwir and Zombie. Bari sits less than 12 points out from that top spot, so he is very much still in the game competitively. He just needs to work on his consistency here, and this racing pass is going to be the start of that. Alright, Bari Musawwir and the Zombie is underway here. Right off the bat, going to be really bouncy coming off of that step up. That's really not what you want here in racing. That's good for freestyle, maybe skills, but not racing. Very quickly making up for his mistakes, though. He's looking super clean coming through the rest of this pass. Alright, this is the one that I think Bryce Kenny really has to look out for so far. Bari has yet to make a major mistake. He has a huge opening right now, but it's all going to come down to this last turn. Let's see if he can carry home enough speed. He's pushing for it. Oh, it's going to be a close one. I'm actually going to have to review the times here from your previous competitors. Right, the time to beat so far, Bryce Kenny and the Tech Deck Rec Deck with a 38.89. The time for Bari Musawwir Zombie is a 38.86. We have a new leader here in timed racing. It's Bari Musawwir and the Zombie. Man, I was saying it all the way through that pass. This is the one that Bryce has to look out for because Bari didn't make really any mistakes up until that very last turn. In previous passes tonight, drivers are messing up 2, maybe 3 turns in their pass. Because, I mean, there are a good 8 turns in these passes that they have to figure out. Everyone was making 2 or 3 mistakes. Bari made 1 in that entire pass, and that was enough to get him the lead. Coming up next, it is last week's racing winner behind the wheel of the Classroom Crusher, Camden Murphy. So Camden is coming fresh off of a racing win. If there's anyone that we should expect a good time from, it's going to be Camden, but he's in that new chassis style that's been giving a lot of drivers trouble, including Camden. In fact, Bryce Kenny, who is also running the same chassis, rolled over in every single competition in Event 1. Fortunately, he was able to break that streak at this show, but that was a pretty crazy series of events. Camden Murphy, right off the bat, looking very fast in the Classroom Crusher. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. In fact, he's actually looking perfect. This might be the smoothest pass yet if he can carry a lot here at the end. Bari Musawwir was at about 35 seconds in at this point. Camden Murphy's at 32 seconds in. Can he speed up in this final straightaway? Yes, he can. Camden Murphy might do it again, as he is going to get the first sub 38 time of the night. His time, a 37.70. So Camden Murphy in the Classroom Crusher, very nicely done. He is now on track to win his second racing competition of the year. So that chassis really looks like it's giving drivers some mixed results. You know, some drivers just can't stop rolling over in that new chassis. Camden just can't stop winning. I mean, he won racing last week, and now out of 8 competitors, he's leading racing. That's already going to secure him at least 7 points in this competition, and it could be as many as 16 depending on how these next competitors do. Coming up next, it's going to be the first look we get at the legends of Team Scream tonight in 1 second here. So yeah, we have yet to see Team Scream tonight, but this is going to be our first look at them with two-time world champion Jim Koehler, Avenger. Now, there's one thing on this BeamNG circuit that I've always noticed, and that is that the Team Scream trucks are crazy fast in racing. Chris Koehler doubled down in the LCQ last year. When I say that, I mean every driver in the LCQ got 2 passes, and Chris Koehler had both of the fastest passes of the night. He is unstoppable. Jim Koehler in a very similar chassis, we're going to have to see if he can have that same success. Right off the bat, Jim Koehler is looking very fast. Now, Camden Murphy was really tight in these turns. Everyone else, even the fastest of them, have been trying to take them maybe a little bit wider, and I don't think that it's benefiting them the same way that taking them as tight as Camden was. But it also seems like they just can't get those trucks to steer as efficiently as Camden could, and that's what really set them apart. Jim Koehler looking very fast. Hopefully he can take this last turn well. Oh, he's going to ace that last turn. Nicely done, Jim Koehler. It's not going to be enough for the top spot, but it's going to be enough for the top 5 currently. Jim Koehler, a 39.02. That is currently 4th place for him. He's going to go sub 40. So far, less than half of the drivers have been able to go sub 40. So Jim Koehler setting himself apart from the rest by having one of the fastest passes of the night. Not the fastest pass, but definitely up there. Enough to be notable for points. Coming up next, on his first ever Stadium Series, Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. Man, so Tim Hall Jr., man, his first Stadium Series event last week in SoFi Stadium, and he ends up placing only 9 points out from the overall event win. He clearly knows what he's doing behind the wheel of a Monster Jam truck, showing that he deserves this stadium spot. He has the opportunity to climb up the overall series ladder right now, but it's going to take a good racing pass. Right off the bat, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Tim Hall Jr. He is going super, super clean in these turns. In fact, this has been a contender for fastest pass yet. Ooh, that might mess him up. Oversteered a little bit there, and I think that might be enough to knock this out of contention for the winning run. Regardless, though, Tim Hall Jr. and the Jurassic Attack looking very fast. That time is going to be a 38.87. That's going to put him 1/100th of a second behind Bari Musawwir, which is going to be 3rd place right now for Tim Hall Jr. which is not all that bad of a place, honestly. Tim Hall Jr. should be happy with that because he did go sub 39, and that's something that only 4 drivers out of 10 have been able to do so far. Coming up next, we're going to throw it over to the other Scream Team. Yep, the other Team Scream driver here on the Destruction Series. We were just talking about him. It's Chris Koehler and the Mayhem. So Chris Koehler, unfortunately, he's going to be the only other Team Scream driver we see. Joe Foley was not consistent enough in the postseason to make it onto the Destruction Series. He is on the Speedway Series instead here on the BeamNG circuit. Chris Koehler, though, winning the Fall Brawl Series East, I should say, and also just doing pretty good at the Veterans Day event. That was enough to put him onto this series. So now he has the opportunity to prove that he earned this spot, and that's not good. Immediately, Chris Koehler looking very rough in this pass. This might be the first DNF of the night. Yes, it will be. Oh my gosh. Hold on, fans. So very bad news for Chris Koehler. Not only is it a DNF, and not only did he just shear off a tire. Look at this. Sway bar broken, shock tower broken, shock tower broken. Chris Koehler just exploded the entire rear end of his Monster Jam truck. Let's take a look at that. Oh, both those sway bars are broken as well. Or one of the sway bars is broken, one is still together. Well, some bad news for you Chris Koehler Team Scream fans. I have a feeling we won't be seeing Chris Koehler returning for two-wheel skills. Maybe not even for freestyle. Because that was a super destructive crash. He basically broke half of the Monster Jam truck. And I'm not sure if it's realistically going to be possible for those guys in the pits to get that thing fixed up fast enough for him to return again in this event. You know what, though? They're all going to be trying their hardest to get Chris Koehler back. Don't get disheartened, Mayhem fans. We may still be able to see him return later tonight. Coming up next, a World Racing Champion, 2-time World Racing finalist, Zack Garner, Wild Side. So Zack, very, very competitive in this competition. Will he be able to show that here tonight? Well, he's not sitting in the top 5 on this series for nothing right now. But he's going to have to keep on placing high if he wants to not only defend that spot, but even go into higher spots on the year. So let's see what he can do kicking off this racing pass. Gonna take it pretty tight right there. That's what we like to see. That's what has really been working for these competitors so far. Let's see how much speed he can take through this turn. That has been determining a lot. He's gonna take a good amount. So a lot here in this final standard pass for the Wild Side. Gonna oversteer a little bit there, but he's not gonna let it slow him down. Unlike other competitors who have made that mistake. Huge speed to the straightaway, and it's going to be a 38.53 for the Wild Side. Again, a 38.53. That is going to put him in second place currently. All right, so not the best time we've seen necessarily, but not bad at all. You know, second place. That means since there's only 4 more drivers to go, he has secured himself a solid 11 points no matter what happens with these next drivers. So nicely done, Zack Garner. Wild Side proving why he is one of the best in the sport right now. Coming up next, Tyler Menninga, Gravedigger. So Tyler tied for that 4th place position on the series with Zack Garner. And Zack now placing pretty high in racing. Tyler's going to have to do that as well, or he's about to get knocked down a spot on the series. Tyler Menninga getting started here in that new Gravedigger body style. I love looking at that thing. I'm not sure what to think entirely yet, but I think it is growing on me as the season goes on. Let's see if he can stay fast here, though. Ooh, almost had to get a penalty there, but he is going to be able to make it outside of that line. That is a requirement to go outside of that line drawn at those racing lanes. Actually, Tyler is in the runnings to take the lead right now. A lot of it's going to come down to this final stretch. Can he do it? Big speed. Oh, so close for Tyler. It's a 38.17. That does mean he was faster than Zack, and that Zack will not be passing Tyler coming out of racing. But it's still not going to be enough to knock out Camden Murphy. So Camden Murphy, there are only 3 drivers left to potentially take this away from Camden Murphy. Right now, it's looking like Camden's going to be clean sweeping racing on the series coming out of this coming out of the second event, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Coming up next, one of the Anderson boys. It's Weston Anderson and the Bog Hog. Weston, I'm sure it's got to be super exciting to get to represent your own identity, especially at the stadium level like this. And, I mean, Weston, the Bog Hog has been his thing for quite a few years now, only in mud truck form. So, let's see what he can do. Weston Anderson, he is lined up here. He currently sits top 3 on the series, so there is a lot on the line in this racing pass. Alright, right off the bat, he's staying nice and neat, not getting that truck hiked up like a lot of drivers did coming out of that opening section. Gets a little bit caught up right there, but not too bad at all. So let's see what he can do. Still keeping the momentum up. That's what we need for Weston. Sorry, that's what Weston needs, I should say. Alright, let's see. Ooh, okay, getting a little bit messy here. Let's see, though. He might be able to go with it. Ooh, gonna get that turning pod in the way a little bit. And that is gonna be enough to mess him up and throw him out of that top 5 position here in racing. He's gonna get a 38.93. I'm not sure exactly where that places him, but it is going to drop him down a little bit. Welcome, Isaac. Super glad to have you back. And hey, that's awesome, man. Staying for the whole event. That's incredible. I will say this event's longer than previous ones you've seen because this is a 16 truck lineup. So expect this event to be at least an hour and a half longer, but I really appreciate it because, like I've said quite a few times now, fan interaction and those fan scores is what makes these events, you know, actually possible. Without fan scoring, it would not be a fair series or a fully authentic one. So I appreciate you, Isaac, for coming out to another stream. Your participation will add a lot to the series. Well, fans, there are only 2 drivers left to go here in timed racing. Coming up, Ryan Anderson, son of a digger. Now, Ryan, man, no stranger to racing. He's a world racing champion, and for good reason. But now, he's going to have to put that to use here in AT&T Stadium. Let's see what he can do. Again, representing 15 years of his identity. I'm sure he's going to want to go strong this year. He is sitting second place right now, but was such a big milestone for him. I'm assuming he's wanting to pick that up a little bit. Let's see. He is going to go outside that line, which is mandatory, but he loses a ton of speed and flow right there. Tough break for Ryan. Because, I mean, like I've been saying, I know that this year means a lot for him, but like I've also been saying, for every driver, consistency is key, and these mistakes from Ryan are going to mess him up. That's a 5-second penalty, and that's a huge crash for Son of a Digger. Ryan Anderson having a super rough night here in racing. That's really unfortunate. You know what? You can't win them all, but that's a lot worse than losing. So Ryan's going to get a 40.54, but because of that penalty, he's actually going to get a 45.54. That places him in 14th place right now. The highest number of points he can possibly get in racing after this last racing pass is 3. So Ryan's season just got turned upside down. That is a huge bummer for the Son of a Digger camp when it's such a big anniversary year like this. You know, that's never how you want it to go, but I've said it time and time again, I'll say it again and again. You got to be on your A game on every single thing you do on this series. Ryan just couldn't do that. He made 3 or 4 mistakes in that pass, and that's the cost of it. Coming up last here in timed racing, though, that's right, it is the end of that first competition. It's your current season points leader, Jon Zimmer Jr. Terminal Velocity. He's going to have to be very careful with what he does here because he can very easily lose that series lead if he is not careful. So he's getting pulled up to that line. Let's see what he can do here. Gets started with his pass. Oh no! It looks like he wanted to take a different approach. He had the rear steer turned at the start of his pass. I think he wanted to try to get off that step up faster, but it's going to result in a huge loss of time for him, and this is going to be detrimental to Jon Zimmer Jr.'s series lead. I mean, he has just secured himself, I mean, maybe second to last place at the highest. This is super unfortunate for Jon Zimmer Jr. I mean, I know he really wanted to defend that series lead, but I'm pretty sure this means that coming out of timed racing, your new points leader is going to be Tyler Menninga. Also, guess what, fans? I'm actually pretty surprised right now. Jon Zimmer Jr. and Terminal Velocity, despite very much not having the pass he wanted, actually got a time of a 46.39, which, although not good, isn't second to last. It's actually third to last because Blake did worse than that. So, okay, it's not good at all for Jon Zimmer Jr., but I mean, I'm assuming he's happy to at least not be the slowest finished time of the night. Now, briefly, fans, I am counting up those points from racing, seeing where drivers are currently sitting in the overall. I will also do a series point standings tracker so that we can keep track of that as well, because that is something that is definitely going to be affected throughout the course of this event. Alright, we saw all sorts of times in racing. And some things that we just saw there in racing actually are going to be pretty big deals here as we discuss the points chase. So I'm very excited to talk about that. Also, more big news coming out of racing. That means that Camden Murphy and the Class Room Crusher has now won both racing competitions of the series. He is undefeated in timed racing on the 2026 BeamNG Destruction Series. Very quickly, I'm going to add up the points drivers just got with their previous points coming into this event to see where everyone is. But it looks like I was correct about something. By the way, I'm not going into like intermission or something. This takes me a good 12 seconds to count everything up. Yeah, points are looking insane right now. A lot of things I'm very excited to talk about. So, first thing I'm going to talk about here is Bryce Kenny, coming into this event, was in last place. Now, Blake Granger is actually dropping to last place. So, a huge shift in the tides here for the points chase. Blake Granger drops to last place. Bryce Kenny and John Gordon now are both in second to last place, and Bryce Kenny, getting a pretty big 10 points in racing, has the opportunity to start climbing again. Your new season points leader, like I said was going to be the case, is Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger with 46 points, now taking over second place. Zack, Garner, and Wildside with 45 points. Weston Anderson and Bog Hog now takes over third place with 43 points. And a huge jump for Camden Murphy is going to see him go from 9th place to 4th place right now in the series standings. So some big shifts here coming out of timed racing. But now it's time for you fans to get involved, because it's time for the two-wheel skills competition. So as you fans know, here on the channel, we do fan scoring in the chat. So you fans will be able to input your scores for all of these competitors we will be seeing throughout the competition. All you have to do is watch the run, type in the number you think they deserve, and that's going to be their score for the night. So, the skills order is going to be based off racing placement. So the driver who placed last in racing will be going first. The driver who won racing will be going last. Pretty standard things. The one difference, though, is Koehler, the driver who got last in racing, will not be able to return for skills because he blew up the entire rear end of his Monster Jam truck. We might not be seeing Koehler for the rest of the night. Alright, well, on that note, let's get started with two-wheel skills. For those of you who are unaware, the Stadium two-wheel skills format has been changed. So instead of drivers having two different hits, they now will only get to attempt one move. However, they will get a couple attempts at that move if they cannot get it down on their first try. So coming up first here in two-wheel skills, he just fell to last place in the series standings. It's Blake Granger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Remember, fans, keep an eye on this run by Blake Granger because you will have the opportunity to score. Alright, let's see what he goes for here. Very standard for Blake Granger. He's going for a move on those front two BKT tires. Let's see what he can do. Oh, goes in for a combo. Can't quite get it. He's going to save it, though, by putting it back onto the front two BKT tires. So nicely done there by Blake Granger. Showing you fans why he is one of the best to do it. Even if his point standings right now don't quite reflect that. He's just been having a very bad start to the year. And his racing pass, of course, reflecting that with him being penalized. He's keeping this alive here in two-wheel skills, though. That's what we're going to need to see for Blake Granger. I say that. It looks like he is now going to be setting it down. He's trying to keep it going. Okay. So that was pretty cool for Blake Granger. He's actually going to combo that on all different areas across the track. Nice lead on Blake Granger. But that is going to do it for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So opening up two-wheel skills on a strong note, and that's exactly what Blake Granger needed because he has been having such a rough year. So maybe this is going to be a big opportunity for him to make up those points that he lost in racing. You never know. Fans, make sure to get those scores locked in as soon as the run ends so that we can keep this event going at a nice pace as we prepare for that next driver. And the driver coming up next is one that is actually going to need to make up for his racing performance more than anyone else, because coming into this show, he was that series points leader, but at this point, not so sure he can be saying the same thing for himself. Alright, again, fans, I'll make sure to get those scores locked in. Alright, and that scoring window is now closed. So let's take a look. Fans are going to give their scores for Blake. We're going to average out those fans' scores. So fans are going to give Blake Granger a 9.173. Experts are going to give him an 8.75. So that score kicking off two-wheel skills, an 8.961 for Blake Granger and the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So although it is not quite the highest score we've seen so far this year, it's a huge score for the first run of the night. Maybe that'll get Blake a good opportunity here to make back up for his performance. But like I was just saying, speaking of drivers who need to really make up for their performance, coming up next we got Jon Zimmer Jr. and the Terminal Velocity, who lost his series points lead after a very unfortunate racing pass. Now he has the opportunity to make up a ton of much needed points, but it's going to take some good work. So let's see what he can do here. Looks like he's going to use an obstacle we have not seen used yet. Never mind. Looks like he might be changing his mind here. there are really a lot of technical opportunities on this track. So it looks like Jon Zimmer Jr. is going to look for one that suits him maybe a little bit more. And I think he's got something in mind here. Getting it onto those front two BKTs, something Jon Zimmer Jr. is very, very good at doing. And look at this impeccable balance. Now, Jon Zimmer Jr. coming out here. Oh, man, it's going to take a big save right now. All right, that's going to do it for Jon Zimmer Jr. terminal velocity. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. He didn't really do too much in that move, but you know what? A lot of that's going to be up to you fans. Now, like I was just saying, before I cut myself off, Jon Zimmer Sr. driving the Uproar actually won two-wheel skills yesterday on the Speedway Series. So I was going to say, now maybe there's some family and team pressure for Jon Zimmer Jr. to reflect that performance, but not going to be able to do too much here today. Again, fans, make sure to get those scores in right away. On that note, we are going to be using the scores that have been given. So, fans are going to give, when we got a couple fan scores, so again, we're going to be averaging those out. Fans are going to give that run a 7.625. Experts give it a 7.75. That score for terminal velocity, a 7.688. Again, a 7.688. Only enough for second place currently. Now, fans, we would be seeing Ryan Anderson up next, going based off of racing. But obviously, he had that crazy crash at the end of racing. They're doing some more inspections in the back to make sure that that truck is all ready to go before he comes out here for two-wheel skills, so that he doesn't come out here with a broken truck. So we will be seeing Ryan later on in the competition. Coming up next, Mike Pagliarulo. Mike has always been fairly consistent in this competition. Not necessarily groundbreaking, but consistent at the very least. Alright, let's see what he goes for here. It's not going to be successful, so he will get one more attempt at this move. Keep in mind, that's how the new format works. Drivers can only get to attempt one move, but if they mess it up, they can have one more attempt at it. I don't know what went wrong there for Mike Pagliarulo. He just couldn't get that truck popped up the way he needed it to. And unfortunately, Excaliber is just really going to get practically nothing done here in the two-wheel skills competition. That's never how you want your night to go. But it looked like he went for maybe something more risky. There wasn't really a lip to work with. He was just trying to use a racing lane, and it's not going to work out for him. At the very least, he might have got a small stoppy popper, but that would be about it. Again, fans, make sure to get those scores locked in as soon as you can, so that we can keep this show moving. Experts are going to give that run a 2. Fans are going to give it a 2.1, so that is a 2.050. Again, a 2.050 for the Excaliber. That's going to be enough for third place, but not too sure that number is going to go up at all, or stay the same at all, I should say. Rough luck there for Mike Pagliarulo. Coming up next, Colt Stevens, Thunder Roars. This is really not quite Colt's competition, so we'll see what he can do, but his options may be limited. And it looks like he's got something in mind here. Colt Stevens and Thunder Roars ready to get the ball rolling here in two-wheel skills. Alright, he is going to be successful here on his setup, so he will not get a second attempt at this. He's got to work with whatever he can get on this move. Oh man, he's getting crazy risky with it right now. Okay. Let's hear it for Colt Stevens, Thunderosaurus. Well, he tried to get a little bit of a combo for it, and I respect him for trying something different. We don't really see that from the Thunderosaurus too often, so Colt Stevens getting out of his comfort zone, trying to wow the crowd. Again, fans, get those scores in. That score to beat belongs to Blake Granger in the Monster Mutt Dalmatian with a 8.961. Fans are going to give Colt Stevens a 6.8. Experts are going to give him a 7.25. So that score, a 7.025 for the Thunderosaurus. Coming up next, it's Cole Vennard, the Black Pearl. So this has never quite been Cole's competition. I'm really not too sure what he'll go for here. He just doesn't really aim for those two-wheel maneuvers too often. He's going to have to find something to work with here, though, because, like said, every point on this series is going to count. So Cole Vennard, let's see what he can do. Again, Cole Vennard really just doesn't like doing those moves on the front tires, particularly. He's always opted for wheelies and bicycles, so that's what I'm expecting for this hit. Looks like he's going for that same ramp that Mike Pagliarulo struggled with earlier. This is a bold choice for Cole Vennard because, again, he only gets one attempt here. Or one setup, I should say. So if this first one doesn't work, he has to go for it again. If that one doesn't work, okay, well, there goes what I was saying. He's going to get a perfect wheelie out of this. Look at that. He's waving those front two BKT tires as well. Oh my goodness, this might be a save. Yes, it will be. Cole Vennard, the Black Pearl. So, a very, very nice wheelie out there. And even mixes in a little bit of wow factor with it, pulling out a little bit of a save on the ragged edge. That's exactly what we like to see here in these scored competitions. You want to save it for the scored competitions, not for racing. And Cole Vennard going to be able to do that out here behind the wheel of the Black Pearl. Score to beat still belongs to Monster Mutt Dalmatian with an 8.961. Alright, let's see here. Fans are going to give Cole Vennard a 7.678. Experts are going to give him a 7.5. So the Black Pearl, a 7.589. Currently enough for third place. You know what? That keeps Cole out of the bottom few. So that's at least nice there for him. Because some drivers have been having really rough nights. He at least didn't have a bad attempt. He got done what he wanted to get done. Coming up next, John Gordon, Bad Company. Another driver who I really wouldn't say this is his competition, but at the same time, he's one of those guys who I think I've always liked to see what he can do, because sometimes he has some surprises up his sleeve. So let's see what John Gordon and the Bad Company can do. Alright, looks like he had something in mind and changed his mind. And when you only really get one setup, I'm assuming there's a lot more pressure there in choosing what you're going to do, because you don't want that one hit to go to waste. Alright, let's hear it for Cole Vennard. Did I just say Cole Vennard? Man, I'm in John Gordon. Look at this! A bicycle into a wheelie. That is a combination that not very many drivers in Monster Jam will pull out. Like I was saying, though, the whole thing that I think for Jon Gordon in this competition is he's always got a trick up his sleeve that you don't see coming, and the second he does it, your mind is just going to be blown. Very nicely done by Jon Gordon. That's what I'm talking about. First intentional bicycle of the night. Also something I love to see. Bicycles have always been my favorite move in this competition, and that's going to be the first one. So, yeah, that is almost the halfway point, but not quite yet. So, let's make sure to get those scores locked in. Sorry, taking a second here. Trying to prepare that next competitor, having just a little bit of trouble with it. But it looks like we're about ready to go here. Alright, score to beat 8.961 for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Fans give Jon an 8.8. Experts give him an 8.75. So that score for Bad Company, an 8.775, going to be enough for second place currently here in the skills competition. Great for Jon Gordon because he's really needed to get some points and find his way out of just about last place on the series. That's a great way to do it. Coming up next, the veteran here in the field. One of the longest running drivers in all of monster truck history. It's Jim Koehler, Avenger. Jim Koehler, I'd say the exact same thing I said for Jon Gordon with him. He very much will take you by surprise. Some weekends he just can't do anything in this competition. Other times he does the craziest move ever. Let's see what he can get done here. Oh my gosh! Jim Koehler trying to save it, but that was just too chaotic. That's gonna do it. He just destroyed about the entire body right there. I would be surprised to even see a body on this truck in freestyle. Crazy bicycle attempt. Looks like he was trying to get some sidewalls, but just could not keep it stable. Keep in mind that score to beat is still a 9.6. Sorry, 9. Whoa! 8.961. Is that score to beat? Second place, 8.775. Great attempt from Jim Koehler. Unfortunately, not going to be what he was looking for. Alright, let's take a look at those scores. Fans are going to give Jim Koehler an 8.200. Experts are going to give that run a 7.75. So that score for Avenger, 7.975. Currently enough for third place here in the two-wheel skills competition. Coming up next, Bryce Kenny, Tech Deck Rec Deck. Much like said for Jon Gordon, Bryce is really trying to climb his way back up the leaderboard after a very unfortunate first event. But it's going to take something we haven't seen quite yet. It's going to take something new for the night. So let's see what Bryce Kenny can do to try and be innovative here. Looks like he might have something in mind with that Morgan and Morgan backflip ramp. Let's see what he can do here. A move Bryce Kenny has become pretty much synonymous with when it comes to this competition. Alright, nice technical moves so far. Oh, let's hear it for Bryce Kenny, Tech Deck Rec Deck. From what I could tell there, by the way he rapidly went to reverse, it sounds like he was trying to do a combination but could not quite do it. So, good attempt there for Bryce Kenny, but he's not quite going to get what he was looking for. to end it off. A little bit more flair definitely could have helped out his score, whatever that will end up being. But regardless, still a pretty nice setup by the Rec Deck. Alright, score to beat still belongs to Monster Mutt Dalmatian. An 8.961. Let's see those scores for the Tech Deck, Rec Deck. Make sure you're getting those scores locked in right away. Keep in mind, there is a pretty big stream delay, so I don't see the scores until about 10 seconds later, which is why there's always such big pauses. Alright, fans are going to give that run a 7.7. Experts are going to give it a 7.5. That is a 7.600 for Bryce Kenny and the Tech Deck Rec Deck. Not enough for that top spot. Well, fans, we are running through this competition pretty quickly. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, 7 competitors left to go. That is less than half of the field, so things are only going to keep getting more competitive from here. And coming up next, it's Weston Anderson and the Bog Hog. Let's see what Weston can do. This is one of his strongest competitions, but that's kind of an empty statement when it comes to Weston Anderson, because every competition is basically his best competition by now. Let's see what he can do, though. Alright, he's going to fail the setup, which means he will get a second attempt here. Very rare error by Weston Anderson, but he will get one more try here to make this attempt happen. Oh, this might be really bad for Weston. Man, he tried to save that move, but a rare mistake by Weston Anderson. He is not going to be able to get anything done here in the two-wheel skills competition. Very, very rare that we see that for Weston. That has got to be a frustrating way to go out here in this competition. Very similar to what we saw for Mike Pagliarulo. It looks like the ramp he tried to use just wasn't quite fit for this competition. Huge bummer there for Weston. I know he's going to be frustrated about that one. Again, fans, keep in mind, score to beat. Still that 8.961 from the first run of the night. Fans are going to give Weston a 1.6. Experts are going to give him a 2.25. So Weston Anderson, a 1.925. That is going to put him in last place currently. And that's also super frustrating for Weston because he just got into third place in the series standings. He really had an opening to take over that top spot if he could have been consistent, but that is not going to be the case here tonight. Welcome to the stream, Monster Jam Brothers. Coming up next, Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. Tim Hall Jr., definitely his strongest competition. He can pull off all sorts of things on 2 BKT tires. Will he be able to tonight? Alright, looks like he's going to use a ramp we have not seen used yet. Always a risky move because you have a little bit less to base your run off of. Let's see what he can do, though. Definitely I'm not going to doubt him because he knows what he's doing when it comes to two-wheel maneuvers. Very nice. So he's keeping this combination going. Tim Hall Jr. making sure he finds something to get him some good points here because he is sitting, I believe, among the top 5 currently in the series points chase. So if he can stay consistent like this, it's going to give him a big opportunity to get higher in points. Look at this, by the way. He is living on those front 2 BKT tires. He is just keeping this move going, very similar to what we saw from Jon Zimmer Sr. yesterday that won him the competition. Tim Hall Jr., very impressive run so far. Combos it into a wheelie with the save. Let's hear it for Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. Fans, keep in mind, you can get those scores locked in the chat, and that will officially determine a big part of these competitor scores. One of the cleanest and definitely the longest run of the night from Tim Hall Jr. and the Jurassic Attack. So very, very nicely done. That's what you love to see out of him. Alright, let's see. Fans are going to give Tim Hall Jr. a 9.1. Experts are going to give him a 9.25. That score for Jurassic Attack, a 9.175. Your new leader, Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. So big news there for Tim Hall Jr. That's going to be his first good sum of points. Nope, shouldn't say that actually. He got a good, I want to say 12 points in racing. Now he's going to be picking up a lot of points and skills. Tim Hall Jr. is en route for an overall event championship. Alright, fans, coming up next, another driver that you wouldn't really expect to see too much from when it comes to this competition. It's Bari Musawwir, Zombie. Bari said he has something a little bit special up his sleeve tonight to try and make up some of those points that he has lost out on in this competition. Because, I mean, he doesn't want to just keep losing out on more and more points when it comes to two-wheel skills maneuvers. So this is going to be his skills run. Let's see what he can do. Big sky wheelie. Slap wheelie. Huge air. Combination. Running out of room. Wow, so Bari Musawwir and the Zombie giving us something a little bit different. That's the first move we've seen so far that was really just kind of a full power thing more than, you know, slow and technical. And I think some fans, especially the old school fans, will definitely prefer that. So nicely done there by Bari. Will it be enough? BeamNG Drive, you got to get it through Steam, the gaming platform on PC. Also, I know you have not entered any scores yet. Everyone in this stream is able to participate in fan scoring. All you got to do is type in the number you think the driver deserved, and that'll be part of their score. So all of you can participate if you want. Alright. Great run for Bari. Scored a beat. Nope, no phone. Only computer, PC. Scored a beat. 9.175 for Tim Hall Jr. Fans give Bari an 8.209. Experts give him an 8. So the score for Zombie, an 8.105. Not going to be enough for that top spot. Although, I think that currently puts Bari in 4th place, which is not all that bad, considering he had less finesse than some other drivers tonight have in this competition. Alright, we're going to keep things moving here as we continue to near the end of this competition. Up next, Zack Garner, Wild Side. So Zack Garner coming out here. Let's see what he can do. Zack Garner can do quite a few different things on two wheels. I'm very interested to see what he's going to opt for out here. Okay, looks like we might be seeing something a little bit different for Zack Garner. I'm used to seeing him do those moonwalks, but might be bringing something else out of his skill set that we haven't seen in quite a while. Oh, man, alright, let's hear it for Zack Garner. Goes out there, puts down a nice little bit of a bicycle, but honestly, I expected more. Maybe he did too, I don't know. Maybe he was going to try a combination or something, but whatever that case might have been, it didn't happen. He went out there, did a short bicycle, and that was all we got to see. So let's hear it for Zack Garner. By the way, fans, only 3 competitors left to go here in two-wheel skills. Because once again, we're not going to be seeing Chris Koehler in the Mayhem after his unfortunate breakage earlier tonight. Alright. Fans give that run a 6.1. Experts are going to give it a 6. So Zack Garner a 6.050. Not enough for that top spot. And that's definitely going to hurt Zack a lot in the overall point standings and series chase, because he was only 1 point out from the series lead just now. But I have a feeling he's going to be dropping down quite a bit. And actually, a lot of drivers are going to be changing in positions coming out of this competition. We're definitely going to have a discussion about that before freestyle. Coming up last, I know that is just not true at all. There are still 2 runs left to go after this. Coming up next is what I meant to say. Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger. Definitely a competition that Tyler is well suited for. So let's see what he can do here. Well, that was a rare mistake by Tyler. Goes for a bicycle, just completely rolls it over. Doesn't get anything out of it. So we are seeing that become increasingly common here in skills. Drivers go out there, try to do something crazy, but just can't do it. That's exactly what we saw by Tyler. These bicycles are really starting to cost these drivers, so I'm wondering for these last couple competitors, maybe they're going to try something more trustworthy, because evidently those side 2 tires are not working out tonight. They only really worked for 1 driver, and that was back towards the start of the competition with John Gordon. So lots of tough breaks coming out here in skills. Fans are going to give Tyler a 7.6. Experts are going to give him a 6.25. So that score for Gravedigger was 6.920. Not enough for that top spot. Man, so these scores continuing to suffer. Skills has honestly not been growing that much. I feel like as it's gone on, it's been getting more and more rough for these drivers. But 2 left to go, so we'll see what they can do. Coming up next, here to take the competition to school, is Camden Murphy and the Classroom Crusher. Camden has always been pretty good on a technical level, but I don't know. I think his competition this year is definitely turning out to be racing, as he has won it twice in a row. Let's see what he can do here in 2-wheel skills. Looks like he's going to opt for that same ramp used by Tim Hall Jr., who is your current points leader right now, or sorry, competition leader. So that is a nice, kind of like an old reliable choice by Camden Murphy. But if it works, it works. And tonight we've definitely been seeing that a lot of things have not been working, and that has been reflecting in points. So Camden walking this back very precisely. Tries for a combination. It might cost him. He's going for a save. He's trying. But he is not going to get the opening he needs. And that's going to do it for the Classroom Crusher. So, great attempt by Camden in terms of, I think it was definitely enough to get the fans on their feet. But the problem with it is it was not successful in the end. He did not end up on all fours. I think that's something we're definitely going to have to keep in mind here as we get those scores in. Oh, I just dropped my water bottle cap. Alright. Yeah, get those scores in for the Classroom Crusher. A nice attempt, but not too sure if that's going to be enough or not. That next driver coming up, a guy who has a lot to make up for after racing, but that's a story for after we take a look at these scores. Alright, fans give Classroom Crusher an 8. Experts give it a 7.75, so that's a 7.8. 7.5, not enough for that top spot for the Classroom Crusher. Well, fans, only one driver remains. He is celebrating 15 years of his truck, and right now he's trying to make up for a very, very low racing placement. It's Ryan Anderson, son of a digger. So if Ryan can have a good skills run right now, he could make up a lot of points. And after how bad Weston, Tyler, and Zack all did, he very well may be able to find an opening to potentially find his way to the series lead. But it's going to take a skills win and maybe even more than that in freestyle. So let's see what Ryan Anderson can do here. Looks like he's going to be the second driver of the night to opt for that backflip ramp. Bryce Kenny is the last one we saw. Bryce got a pretty decent score, so I'm sure Ryan's looking for that same thing. Alright, still trying to work on that setup here. Let's see what he can do. Oh no! Well, fans, let's hear it for Ryan Anderson, son of a digger. Man, this competition just kept getting more and more unfortunate as the night went on. And unfortunately, the tail is going to be the exact same for Ryan Anderson. You know, that's also a super tough break because you expect, you know, as the night goes on for the competition to get more and more competitive. I feel like it kind of did the opposite of that right there. I know it's pretty unfortunate, disappointing, but you can't win them all. Fans give that a 2. Experts give it a 2. That's a 2.00 for son of a digger. All right. Well, very quickly here, I'm going to count up all these scores, see where these drivers landed, and we're going to also take a look at how that's going to impact the series standings. So, briefly doing that right now, as preparation for freestyle will continue. We saw quite a few drivers have pretty rough luck out there. And, you know, sometimes that's how the Destruction Series goes, because you got to think about it. There are so many trucks and so many competitions on this series throughout the year. Some of them are bound to go wrong. When there's as many as 16 competitors on a series, it's only going to take so long for things to start getting a little bit choppy. And that's what we saw a lot of right there in two-wheel skills. A lot of drivers having unsuccessful attempts and walking home disappointed. We do still have one more competition to go, but we'll see. Actually, I made a huge mistake counting up points. I gave everyone 1 point too little. So I have to go back through all the... Alright, 5, 6... I gave everyone 1 point too little because I was still thinking that Chris Koehler's 0 counted, but it doesn't. He just gets a 0 because he couldn't do anything, so... Alright. My apologies, fans. It took us a second here, but I think I got all the points figured out. Now, here's what I find really interesting coming out of that competition. Some pretty low-placing drivers walking home with some pretty big scores, or points implications, I should say. Like, for example, Jim Koehler, who had a pretty unsuccessful run, still ends up in 5th place. So that just goes to show how kind of wild skills was tonight. Yes, I have played Overdriven before. Alright. Well, I'm going to add up all the overall series points right now. And we're going to take a look at the point standings and see how everyone's sitting, because that was super interesting. Wow, I think we have a new series leader. And it's someone that I'm very excited to see at the top. Alright. Yeah, crazy things happening in points right now. Alright, well, Bryce Kenny still is holding out of last place, but only by 1 point still. So, Cole Vennard and Colt Stevens both just dropped to last place, by the way. Your new current series leader, though, with a total of 56 points, is Tim Hall Jr. and the Jurassic attack. Tyler, Menninga, and Gravedigger drops to 3rd, and now Camden Murphy climbs up to 2nd. There are some insane things happening in points right now. Wild points chase changes. And going into freestyle, there's going to be a lot of crazy things to look out for. So speaking of freestyle, it's that time of the show. So, it's about to be a wild freestyle competition, man. There has been so much action so far. But it's time to ramp things up. So, the order of freestyle tonight is going to be based on overall... Sorry, Chris Koehler actually dropped to last place because he didn't have a skills run. Colton Koehler in second to last place. Sorry. The freestyle order is going to be based on current series standings. So, the drivers with the least amount of points in the actual series... So not the overall event, but the actual series are the drivers who are going to be coming out first. Not Chris Koehler. The Team Scream crew is still in the back working on that truck, trying to get Mayhem back. Still not sure if it's going to happen after that wild crash. But, like I've been saying, Cole Vennard and Colt Stevens were sitting in the bottom 2 spots outside of Chris, so those are the drivers we're going to be seeing opening freestyle. On that note, I'm not going to make you guys wait anymore. It's time for Monster Jam Freestyle, and kicking it off, Cole Vennard, the Black Pearl. It has some, I mean, there are some crazy implications for freestyle when Cole Vennard is the one kicking it off. I mean, you know that bar is going to be set somewhere pretty high. Let's see what we can get started with here. Cole Vennard is up first. Great air transferring it to kick off this run. Man, I gotta be honest, as much as St. Louis style wasn't my favorite track before, it's been super fun to see it back in Monster Jam. Look at this from Cole Vennard. He's off to a great start with some big air and cool transfers. More full send action for the Black Pearl. So, Cole Vennard, always a very strong freestyler. And when you send out one of the strongest freestylers of the lineup first, I mean, you're bound to get something crazy. And Cole Vennard immediately sending this truck to the moon. That's what I love to see. And fans, don't forget, you can keep your eye on that bottom right-hand corner if you want to see how much time is left in the run. Cole Vennard kicking off freestyle with some great ragged edge action right now. Got a little risky right there. He's going to be able to save it, though. Might be time for another big transfer. That's what I love to see. Oh, man, he's getting ragged edge again. Oh, he's going to need a save right here. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Like I said, one of the best freestylers in the entire lineup. He was gonna get his things figured out here. And let's hear it for the Black Pearl. Tough break, man. That run was gonna be a crazy one. That was still building up to be one of the best runs of the night, but you take a look there at that rear left. That is a broken shock tower. Pretty much the only things we don't let run here on the BeamNG circuit are broken shocks and broken 4-link bars. Unfortunately, Cole Vennard is going to find himself with one of the two. So, let's hear it for the Black Pearl. Tough break there. I know Cole Vennard had been getting pretty excited there in freestyle after that huge save, but Everything counts, and a mistake like that is going to cost him. Alright, there is no score to beat, because that run is setting the bar, so let's see. Experts are going to give that run a 7.25. Fans give it a 5.9, so a little bit of a difference there. And that score for the Black Pearl, a 6.575. Currently, well, obviously currently enough for first place. That is the first run of the night. Koehler, the Black Pearl. Coming up next, a world freestyle champion. It's Colt Stevens, Thunder Roris. So Colt, a world freestyle champion. I'm sure he's going to have something in mind here to make this count. Wait, he's not slowing down. Look at the huge air from the Thunder Roris kicking off that freestyle run. Colt Stevens is not wasting a second right now, and that's like the energy we really need to see here in freestyle for these first few competitors, because they're the ones that really need to pick up the pace in that points chase. More huge air for the Thunder Roris. Let's see what else he can do. Wow! Colt Stevens is going huge out here in freestyle. He has not held back on a single hit so far. Well, that's still going to be the first one, but he just couldn't get it lined up properly. He is just doing whatever he wants out there. Not lining up for any hits. He's just getting ragged edge. He is getting massive air in this freestyle run. I mean, that's why Colt Stevens is one of my and everyone else's favorite freestylers out there. I mean, just take a look at his World Finals 24 freestyle run. One of the best of the best. Up until that crazy Crash Madness, which maybe we'll see some from him tonight. I don't know. He's off to a great run so far. He's got about 40 seconds left, man. This run has flown by for Colt Stevens. It might be Morgan and Morgan backflip time. Take a look out there. He's going to under-rotate it. This is going to be crazy for Colt Stevens. He's going to try and save it, but he's not going to be able to get that one back. Let's hear it for Thunder Roris. Another tough break, man. These drivers have great runs going. They really start to build them up, but the second they really start getting good, the drivers just get a little too aggressive or do something a little too risky, and that's what ends up costing them. So tough break for the Thunder Roris after what was an incredible freestyle run. Alright, score to beat belongs to the Black Pearl with a 6.575. Get those scores in. Fans are going to give that run an 8.2. Experts give it an 8.25. So Thunder Roris, an 8.225. He is your new leader here in freestyle. Coming up next, looking to climb his way out of last place in the series standings, it's Bryce Kenny, the Tech Deck Rec Deck. Bryce Kenny has always been such a natural in freestyle. I mean, this is definitely his competition, and a full send like that, kicking it off, definitely proving that. Now, Bryce had some super rough luck in the first event, couldn't stop that truck from rolling over. So far tonight, that has not been an issue for him, so maybe we'll be able to see a full freestyle run tonight for the Tech Deck Rec Deck. Wow, crazy cross-threading right away. It might cost him. Can he get the save? He's trying for it. What a save by Bryce Kenny. Something is seriously... Oh, man. Let's hear it for the Tech Deck Rec Deck. Man, right when these drivers really start getting good here in freestyle, something goes horribly wrong. In this case, that rear shock tower is done, and Bryce Kenny is done. These drivers just cannot catch a break out here. He's only going to fill 35 seconds, so he's going to leave a ton of time on the clock. Like I was saying earlier, when the competition is set so high, and the drivers are all going so hard. Things are going to go wrong, and we are seeing, honestly, quite a lot of that in this event. We still have 13 freestyles to go, so don't get too disappointed yet. Lots of drivers to still try. Well, 12 or 13, depending on if Koehler can return. We still have plenty to go. So maybe this freestyle competition can pick itself back up. Alright. Score to beat 8.225. Fans give Bryce a 4.8. Experts give him a 4.5. It's a 4.650 for the Tech Deck Rec Deck. Again, a 4.650. Currently enough for third place. Not what Bryce Kenny was looking for in his efforts to get out of last place. Coming up next to the track, he has quickly become a fan favorite in this competition for, of course, his motto, no guts, no glory. He goes all out. It's Mike Pagliarulo, Excaliber. Mike is such a natural in this competition, starting it off with some great air. Wow, more full sends from Mike. So I'm liking the amount of, I mean, when I say amount, I mean a huge amount of energy from the Excaliber machine so far. Oh, this might be a rough landing. Alright, almost was a rough landing, but he had just enough room there to keep it alive. Mike Pagliarulo might be able to put down a pretty good score right now if he can actually complete a run, because so far, 3 freestyles in, we have not seen a driver complete a run. So Mike Pagliarulo, a pretty big opportunity here to get a good score on the board. And I mean, look at the error we're seeing. This is great. I don't know if it's quite as big as Colt's error in his run, but I think it's just as high up there. This is great stuff for Mike. Oh, look at that. Technical combination. That's what I'm talking about. That's what a winning run should have. Look at that. He is on those front 2 BKTs, perfectly balancing. Very nicely done by Mike Pagliarulo. He's got about 40 seconds left. It might be Morgan & Morgan backflip time. Huge backflip onto the wheelie. Wow, look at that. He's going to walk it across the floor. Super nicely done by the Excaliber, Mike Pagliarulo. Huge air off the racing lane. Looks like that one's not as steepened as the red lane is. Alright, let's see what else he can do. He's got about 5 seconds left. Huge sky wheelie for the Excaliber. He's going to set it down. Time is expired. Going to throw it into some donuts. Some very fast donuts running out of room. That's going to do it for Mike Pagliarulo. Man, he is the first driver to fill time, and he did it with some great air, some great momentum, and a nice, complete freestyle run with some of everything. Man, when you're having a rough freestyle competition like the one we've been having tonight, a run like that is a wonderful way to bring the mood back up. Super, super nice stuff from the Excaliber. That's exactly what we want to see. And, I mean, watching that run, it's no surprise that Mike Pagliarulo is a BeamNG World High Jump Champion, because he was sending that truck to the moon. Fans are going to give that run a 9. Experts are going to give it an 8.75. So that score tonight for the Excaliber, an 8.875. We have a new leader here in freestyle, Mike Pagliarulo, Excaliber. Coming up next, making his return to Monster Jam Stadiums, it's John Gordon, Bad Company. So John Gordon coming out here. He's got a lot on his plate. He's been having a pretty nice night, but he still is looking a little bit rough in points. And that's just going to add pressure on him to try and pick up the pace. So let's see what he can do, starting it off with some nice big air. I love the transfers on this track. That's something that St. Louis style has always been pretty nice for. Big air right there as well. And a wheelie. Nice work by Jon Gordon. Making sure to put every different factor into his freestyle run. Oh man, that looked a little bit scary, but truck's gonna hold up alright. Alright, let's see. Good hang time. I'm liking the flow so far. He's not looked lost quite yet, and he's had the momentum up just about the entire run. So that's pretty nice work by Jon Gordon. Keeping it alive. Another transfer. That's the third one of the run. I absolutely love to see that. Taking it wide. This might be good for some big air. Yes, it is. The Bad Company sending it right now. He's going to get technical as well, just like Mike Pagliarulo. So great stuff here from Jon Gordon and the Bad Company. He's got about 40 seconds left. He might now be eyeing the Morgan & Morgan backflip. We saw this one take out a driver earlier. It's a risky play, but he's going to nail it. Very nice right there for the Bad Company. That's exactly what he needed. And now he has given it some huge air as well. So Jon Gordon picking up the pace here. He's got about 15 seconds left. Gotta make every hit count. More huge air. Let's see what else he can do here. Taking it wide. About 5 seconds left. Goes in for some cross-threading. Nice. We haven't seen too much of that quite yet. Trying to get technical one more time. I think that truck is broken as well. And that's going to do it for the Bad Company. A great freestyle run by Jon Gordon. He made sure to include everything. Technical moves, extreme air, wow factor, the backflip. A nice, full, complete freestyle run. That's exactly what I wanted to see, and that's exactly what he delivered. Score to beat belongs to Excaliber with an 8.775. Sorry, an 8.875. Make sure to get those scores in for that freestyle run. All right. That scoring window is closed. Not seeing... Oh, no. Okay. Very last second score there from the fans. All right. Fan score comes in at an 8.4. Experts given an 8.5. So it's an 8.450. Man, I need more water. My voice is getting tired again. 8.450. That's going to be enough for second place right now. Jon Gordon, Bad Company. Coming up next... a reigning world freestyle champion, Blake Ranger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So it takes a world champion to prove mastery when it comes to, you know, any set of skills in Monster Jam, whether it's high jump, whether it's skills, whether it's racing or freestyle. And Blake said, you know what, I want to show how good of a freestyler I am. He won the Freestyle World Championship, and now he's immediately going huge to kick off this run. More great air for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So Blake Ranger coming out here. He's got a lot to, you know, make up. He's been looking very bad in points, which is pretty surprising if you looked at his points last year. Last year he was doing great in points. So far this year that has not been the case. Oh man, he's getting technical here. Or I guess I should say ragged edge more than technical. Trying to keep this alive. Ooh. Going into that barrier. Fortunately not going to hit it too hard though. Full send. Yeah, light barrier taps don't really mean anything here on the BeamNG circuit. But if you hit it like full force, that will be a 5-second penalty. Blake Granger did not hit that too hard, though, so it's not going to be a penalty. Also, just like to keep going here on how great this run is going for him right now. Oh, man, look at the wheelie for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Blake Granger absolutely delivering. Morgan backflip ramp. He gets a moonwalk out of it, a very, very good moonwalk at that. What else can he do? Full sends it as time is starting to run low, about 20 seconds left. What else can Blake Granger make happen? He's cross-threading. Oh, that might be a dangerous cross-thread. He's gonna save it. He's got about 8 seconds left on the clock. Huge air. He's trying to get something to happen here. Huge donuts as he closes out the run. That's gonna do it for Blake Granger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian. That run had a lot of energy in it, a lot of different components that I think definitely should have got the fans on their feet. Blake Granger definitely delivering with a great freestyle run, some of everything. I think that, I mean, I'll always think that's what makes a good run, is how much can you fit into 1 2-minute period of time. And Blake fit absolutely everything into that run. One second here as we prepare for that next competitor. Alright, let's take a look here. Fans give Blake an 8.8. Experts give him an 8.9. So that score tonight for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian is an 8.850. So close to enough for that top spot, but that's going to be enough for second place currently in freestyle for the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Getting ready for that next run. Now this next driver, he is celebrating 15 years of his own Monster Jam truck. He's been having a bit of a rough night. He has not been able to get anything done. Struggling in points because of it. So he's going to be driving with a lot of energy tonight, I'm sure. Please welcome Ryan Anderson, son of a digger. Let's see what Ryan can do. Obviously, like I was saying right there, he's got a lot to prove in this freestyle run. Huge air getting things started. That is a super risky send. And it is going to break the truck. I was going to say, wow, the truck held up. Well, not anymore. Those rear sway bars are very much broken. Now, as I've said, sway bars are not shutoffs here on the BeamNG circuit. But that's going to add a lot of difficulty to Ryan's freestyle run. Huge air, though, so he's not letting that stop him here. It's just going to make that truck a lot more unstable and a lot more prone to potential breakage. So Ryan's got to be very careful for the remainder of this run, especially with how many points he's lost. Every point is going to count, so he can't afford to have a fluke freestyle right now. This might be really bad. Wow, he is getting super risky with this run. Breaking that truck on the first hit, though, there's only so much you can really do. That's not going to be risky. Huge air. What a save by Son of a Digger. The peace of mind to throw that in reverse. He is broken even more now. He has no power in the front end. And unfortunately, it's going to come back to bite him. That's going to do it for Ryan Anderson. Man, he had a crazy run going right there. That, for a broken truck, he definitely gave it his all. But unfortunately, I mean, there was nothing left of it on that by the time he had that last hit. No power in the front. He couldn't save it. And with those rear sway bars still broken, there was only so much he could really do in that position. Still a great run for Ryan Anderson, don't get me wrong. But I could definitely tell he was fighting through it after that first hit did not go quite as planned. Alright, score to beat still belongs to Excaliber with an 8.875. Keep that in mind, 8.875, score to beat. Scores are in. Experts give Ryan an 8.75. Fans give him a 9.2. So, that score tonight, an 8.975. Your new leader in freestyle, Ryan Anderson. So that's huge for Ryan because he didn't fill time. He didn't do a backflip. And he still was able to take the lead. So I think that goes to show kind of what the judges, both fans and experts, are really looking for tonight. It's going to be the air and wow moment more than anything, it seems, as Ryan Anderson is your new leader. Well, from one Anderson to the other, coming up, it's Weston Anderson and Bog Hog. Weston has been having a super rough event. I mean, coming into this show, he was 3rd place in the series point standings. By now, he's dropped to 7th or 8th because he had the worst skills run of his entire career. Sometimes that's just going to be the luck of the draw, but he's got some work to do here in freestyle. Great air on that transfer, kicking it off, though. So Weston Anderson, I mean, he's great in every competition, but I think we all know that as is Anderson nature, freestyle is going to be his strongest competition, so maybe he'll be able to make up for his previous performances tonight. Big air off that racing lane, so Weston Anderson got a little caught up over there. Fortunately, it looks like everything is okay on that truck. Huge air right there. So Weston Anderson really starting to push this truck. That's what we're going to need to see, though. We need to see him get out of his comfort zone with this freestyle run, because that's the only way he's going to be able to get something crazy enough to make up for the rest of the night points-wise. I'd say he's doing a great job with that. He's getting some huge air and great cross threads. I mean, look at that air as well. Weston Anderson picking things up. 47 seconds, Morgan & Morgan backflip time. Nails the landing. He's now got 40 seconds to just do whatever he can. Huge air. Oh my gosh! Can he get this back? A huge moment for Weston Anderson. He came huge. He came down with some huge air. Nose pick backflip off the transfer ramp. And a one-wheel save does it. That was unbelievable. More huge air. Weston trying to do whatever he can to keep this run going. He is going to run out of room, but time expires just as he does that. What a freestyle for the Bog Hog. That was unreal. That's what Weston Anderson does, though. He will do things that no other driver could even imagine doing. That was the craziest move possibly in BeamNG history on the channel. I mean, it was a perfect landing and a one-wheel... I mean, it was almost a perfect landing. Instead, it gave him a perfect opportunity for a crazy save. Genuinely, I don't even know what to say about that run. That is the craziest thing we have seen all season long by the Bog Hog. Unreal. Well, get those scores in, because I know I am certainly blown away by that run. But I gotta see what you fans have to say, because I don't even know. I can't give that a 10, but still, I would like to. Fans give it a 9.7. Experts give it a 9.5. So that score for the Bog Hog, a 9.600. To no one's surprise, we have a new leader here in freestyle. Weston Anderson and the Bog Hog. Well, the only right way to follow that run up is with a world freestyle champion. So fans, please welcome Jim Koehler. Uh-oh. Alright fans, 1 second here. We just saw a bit of an accident there for Jim Koehler as he came out to start his run. It looks like it's just a flat tire. So what we're going to do is we're going to send Jim to the pits and let him fix that up. And then we're going to send him back out here. We're not that cruel. We're not going to say that's the end of the night for Avenger. We're going to send Jim to the back, have him fix that truck up, and we'll send him back out shortly. That's really funny. That's a crazy way to start a freestyle if I've ever seen it. So yeah, Jim Koehler will be back, fans. Don't worry. That was just a very unfortunate event. I'm actually not. You fans might not have even seen what just happened. Oh no, you did. Okay. Yep. Jim Koehler will be back. Instead, coming up next, he was your series points leader coming into this show, but very quickly he lost his lead in the process of it. Oh. Alright, 1 second here, fans. Looks like we have something on that truck that we actually need to adjust to make this competitively fair. We're having some transmission issues, but it's just a problem with the setup. So, quickly going to figure those out. And we are now ready to return to freestyle action with the young gun that has taken the monster truck community by complete storm. It's Jon Zimmer Jr., Terminal Velocity. And Jon Zimmer Jr., man, he has a lot to make up for points-wise. He dropped about 7 placements out of first place in this event. Huge error getting started, though. He's clearly ready to go to try and climb his way back up that ladder. Great save as well. So, right off the bat, Jon Zimmer Jr. giving it what he can in this freestyle run. He's always been very good at doing that. Look at this great air as well. And he also has such an impeccable level of truck control. I mean, he's in the modern era, he's up there with the top 5 when it comes to, like, knowing exactly what to do to keep the truck from rolling over. He is so precise in his driving, yet on top of that, he's not afraid to get ragged edge because he knows how to keep the truck going when you're going what looks reckless. So, Jon Zimmer Jr., one of the best out there right now, especially in this competition. He's immediately proving that with this great full send action. He's really looking for whatever he can get right now. More absolutely huge air from the terminal velocity. He's only got about 40 seconds left, so he's going to have to keep that in mind. Looks like it is Morgan and Morgan backflip time. Nails it, throws it into a moonwalk. That was pretty cool. That was probably the fastest backflip to moonwalk I've ever seen. Oh, this might be bad right here. Ah, he tried to save it, but that truck is fully on the lid. There's absolutely no way to save that. And that's going to do it for Jon Zimmer Jr., Terminal Velocity. Actually rolled over just at the perfect spot to not hit the barriers and get a penalty. So, I mean, that was, I don't know if that was truck control or just luck, but that's at least good news for Jon Zimmer Jr., keeping himself from losing 5 points on the event. And also a pretty cool way to end out the run, but obviously I think we could all agree it would have been a little bit cooler if he could have ended up on all 4 BKT tires. Alright, get those scores locked in. That next competitor already ready to go. Fans are going to give Jon Zimmer Jr. a 9.3. Experts give him an 8.75. So that score, a 9.025, gonna be enough for second place, which is not bad at all for Jon Zimmer Jr. Terminal velocity. Coming up next, it's Zack, Garner, and Wildside. Zack has been doing super well in the points chase, and hopefully he can continue doing that here. But a lot of it's going to come down to what he can do in this freestyle run. Huge air kicking things off from the Wildside. Big air once again, so great stuff going down for Zack Garner right off the bat. 15 seconds in and already two of the biggest sends of the event so far. Look at this, a technical maneuver as well. Pops it up onto the ramp. That was a cool maneuver by the Wildside. More huge air from Zack Garner, shedding the body now. Let's see what else he can fit into this run. Huge air right there. Getting ragged edge with it. Alright. Keeping it on all fours. Very nice. More huge air, sending it to the moon. That Wildside truck. So far, he's had good momentum, good air. And those technical maneuvers have been nice. Still no wow factor quite yet, but he's got about 50 seconds left to try and get that in there. It looks like it's Morgan and Morgan backflip time for the Wildside. Also is going to go for that backflip to moonwalk. We've seen quite a few of those tonight. Not quite going to be able to get it, but he's immediately now going in for some huge full sends as well. Nice little bit of a save right there. What else can he do? 30 seconds left on the clock. Big air right there too. Oh man. Whoa! What a save by the Wildside. Saves it on the ramp. That was very cool for Zack Garner. Oh, this is going to be a risky full send right here. If he can save this, this is going to be a huge moment for the run. Oh, he almost could have saved it, but that tire that was on the ground that was trying to do the sidewall, he had a broken tie rod, so he couldn't steer it how he needed it to. And he just could not control the truck at that point. He does fill time, though, so Zack Garner going to be one of the few drivers so far to actually do that. And I'd say he did it in a pretty cool way with that crazy moment ending out the run. Now, as we prepare for this next run, I'm going to say this is some good news. We have not seen this driver since the racing competition after he had a pretty rough crash. They got that truck fully fixed, and we're going to be seeing him returning here in freestyle. In the meantime, though, we got to take a look at the scores for that freestyle run right there. Pretty solid run by Zack Garner. Didn't necessarily have the craziest moment of the night so far, but still burned it down. Last call for fan scores. Not seeing any coming through for that run. Alright. The score for Wildside going to the experts is gonna be an 8.702. Not enough for that top spot. Coming up next, making his return after missing two wheel skills, it's Chris Koehler and the Mayhem. He's got that truck fired up. He's ready to go. And he's got some work to do because so far in the entire event, Chris Koehler has only been able to gather one singular point. So a lot on the line with this freestyle run. In terms of point implications, he's trying to get technical. Instead, he's getting a little bit crazy out there. Nice move, though, kicking things off for Chris Koehler. Already getting himself a wow factor, which has been a pretty big part of the point so far. Nice air as well. So, Chris Koehler and the Mayhem getting this turn back around. 30 seconds have been filled, so That's that threshold to qualify for a score. Fortunately, every driver so far has been able to. Chris Koehler keeps trying to do some technical moves and getting very close to rolling over as a result. Huge air right here. Oh, man. Oh, this is going to be crazy. What a save and maneuver as a whole by Chris Koehler and the wild side. Did I just say Chris Koehler and the wild side? Chris Koehler and the Mayhem. Man, sometimes I get so jumbled in my head with how many drivers are in this field and different trucks. Chris Koehler and the Mayhem, 40 seconds left. Morgan and Morgan backflip time. Nails the landing. Kind of the most flat landing you can get for a Monster Jam backflip. Huge air. Chris Koehler is getting crazy in this run. And that's gonna do it for the Mayhem. Crazy full send ends it out, and Chris Koehler is done for the night. Man, jeez. That is crazy. Look at that. Rear end is shoved all the way into the chassis. Man, after having to fix the entire rear end before, I'm gonna guess the thing that Chris Koehler wanted to do was not have to fix the rear end again, but that's going to be the result of that freestyle run by Chris Koehler. Welcome, Monster Jam fan 2026. Glad to have you for your first stream here today. We do fan scoring here on the stream, so if you're interested in participating at any point, feel free. Great run from Chris Koehler. He had plenty of wow moments and things to get the fans on their feet. Let's take a look at the score. Fan scores coming in. The fan score for Chris Koehler, a 9.438. The expert score, a 9. So the score for Mayhem, a 9.219. Currently enough for second place for Chris Koehler and the Mayhem. You know what? I think second place is just the right spot for Chris Koehler. He had plenty of wow moments and crazy little ragged edge saves, but I don't think anything is gonna beat that crazy nose pick backflip from Weston Anderson earlier tonight. I wish I could throw up a replay right now because it was so crazy, but not gonna be able to do that. We're gonna just move into this next freestyle run. This driver almost came out for freestyle earlier, ended up braking at the line, but they got that truck fixed back up. It was just a flat tire, so he's ready to go. The other Team Scream driver, Jim Koehler and Avenger. Let's see what Jim Koehler can do. Huge momentum. It's going to be huge air, and that's going to do it for Jim Koehler and Avenger. Well, if there's any Jim Koehler way to end out a freestyle run, it's got to be that right there. Full sends it and immediately breaks the entire front end of the truck. He will not qualify for a score. That does it for Jim Koehler. Honestly, as disappointing as it might have been, that's the most Jim Koehler way to end a freestyle run there is. Like, not even just to end a run, just to do a run. Just go out there, do something crazy. Whatever happens, which might not be good, happens. Thank you for the support, Monster Jam Fan 2026. Alright, coming up next. He is currently sitting in a pretty 4th place in the season points chase. By the way, with that being said, only 4 runs left to go with that encore, of course, coming after. So, coming up next, he currently sits 4th place in the series point standings. He has a big opportunity right now to potentially grab the series points lead. It's Bari, Musawwir, and the Zombie. Great air kicks off his freestyle run. Man, Bari, especially over the last year, has become one of the most entertaining freestylers in the entire industry to watch out here on the track. Look at that, a nice combination. Something Bari is not usually as comfortable with are those technical moves, but he always finds a way to fit just about everything into his freestyle runs. just like huge air that we saw right there. 30 seconds into the run, we have already seen some great full send action and technical moves for the zombie. Now we're going to get a little bit of a save. More huge air, almost bridged the gap from that ramp to the bigger pod area over there. That would have been pretty cool. Full sending it once again, so Bari, Musawwir, and Zombie really looking to get some sort of wow moment in this run. Alright, nice little bit of a save right there, but it's nothing too crazy. Got 50 seconds left on the clock, and I think it's Morgan and Morgan backflip time for the zombie. Bari's also going to throw in a little bit of a moonwalk, so everyone's making sure to do something of flair on their backflips tonight. Bari is cross-threading now. This is what I love to see. I've been waiting all night for a driver to actually cross-thread that track at its full potential because, I mean, look at that. Bari is seeing what this track can do. He's literally pushing both the truck and the track to their limits right now. This is going to be a huge moment if he can get this back. He is not going to be able to save it. Bari, Musawwir, and Zombie leaving 7 seconds unfilled tonight. 7 seconds on the clock for Zombie as he goes over. All in all, a great run for Bari. The air and momentum were consistent. He had a couple nice little saves for wow factor. Some nice technical moves fit in there. I'll say there was nothing particularly groundbreaking about it, but it definitely had a lot of moments that I think you fans should enjoy. So get those scores locked in for that freestyle run for the zombie. Keep in mind, score to beat here in freestyle is a 9.600 for Weston Anderson and the Bog Hog. Alright, that's the last call for scores. Not seeing any scores. This one's going to go to the experts. Oh, never mind. Very last second score right there. Fans are going to give that run an 8.7. Experts are going to give it an 8.75. So that score for the zombie, an 8.725. Not enough for the top spot for Bari Musawwir. 8.725. Alright, fans. We have seen all sorts of crazy things go down tonight. But we're officially down to the last 3 runs of the night. This is where every decision made will count for points, because these are the drivers who are really in the runnings to become the series leader coming out of the show. Alright, I am seeing a fan score came in after the window closed. You just got to make sure to get those scores in as soon as possible, because there's a big stream delay, so I don't see the scores until after they come in, and that makes it a little bit harder to keep the flow going. Tyler Menninga knows a lot about keeping the flow going, though, as he gets started with some great momentum and huge air. So Tyler Menninga and the Gravedigger, evidently, he's looking to make back up the points he lost in skills, because he only got 6 points in skills out of a possible 16. That is a huge blunder when it comes to a series points chase. So Tyler's definitely got some work ahead of him, but he's off to a great start in this run. Look at the huge, huge full send. He has filled out 50 seconds so far in this run. No way. He's only 50 seconds in, but I think it's Morgan and Morgan backflip time already. That was so close to disaster for Tyler. He almost just either failed the backflip or broke big time on the landing. He got very lucky to still be in one piece right now. But now he's got 50 seconds to just burn it down however he wants. And he doesn't have to worry about fitting the backflip in there anymore. What a save! He kind of just pulled that out of nowhere. He just saved it because he felt like it at that point. Oh, he's going for a technical move. It's getting Ragged Edge instead. Tyler's starting to go crazy out here. He's got 25 seconds still left on the clock. What else can he do? Oh, man. Looking for a big moment. Hold on, a hard landing. Clock is paused at 15 seconds. It was a hard cage hit, but he might be able to keep going if that truck wants to. Alright, he's got the green light to continue. So Tyler, he's got 15 seconds now to just burn it down in this run. Time will resume on his next hit here in freestyle. Melissa's giving him some time to really plan for something right now. He's got something up his sleeve. Huge wheelie for Tyler. Oh man, it's going to be another cage hit and another huge save. This is exactly what a freestyle run should look like. One more huge save for good measure and a massive sky wheelie. Walks it across the pod, sets it down. Look at this. He has completely bent the rear part of that cage. What a freestyle run. He had everything in there. Huge air, plenty of wow factors and saves, and a little bit of crash madness too. Momentum was just unmatched. I mean, there was not a single part in that run where I thought it was going slow. He was on the gas the whole time, making sure to keep the flow alive. What a run by Tyler. Score to beat, keep in mind, is a 9.600. Fans, get those scores locked in as soon as possible. Just remember, because there is a big stream delay for me. Alright. Experts will give that run a 9.5. Fans give that run a 9.279. That score for Gravedigger, a 9.390. Enough for second place. So close to enough for that top spot, but not quite going to make it up there. Chris Koehler now gets pushed down to third. On that note, fans, only 2 competitors remain. Coming up next, Camden Murphy, Classroom Crusher. So this event has kind of been a Cinderella story for Camden Murphy so far, because coming into this show, he was 9th place in the series standings. Throughout the course of this show, he has climbed his way all the way up to 2nd place in the series standings. Now, he is only 3 points out from being able to take the lead. So let's see what Camden Murphy can do. He's got 2 minutes all to himself just to burn it down here in freestyle. Right off the bat, I'm liking the energy in his run so far. Ragged edge, but controlled chaos. That is exactly what I am talking about. Threw it in reverse, pulls out a crazy save, and he now is just going to keep it up. Huge air, literally keeping it up in the sky right now. Camden Murphy in the Classroom Crusher, if he can place in 2nd place, he will be able to get more points in freestyle than Tyler. This might be it, though. Oh, fans, let's hear it for Camden Murphy. Super tough break. He was off to a great start in that freestyle run. But I've been saying all season that new chassis style he's in is extra unstable. And we saw that right there. That truck kind of just dumped over. Not much he can do about it. Camden Murphy ends on the lid, only filling 50 seconds of his freestyle run. Fans, get those scores locked in for the Classroom Crusher. That's the second to last freestyle run we're going to be seeing here tonight. As we prepare for your current overall points leader for the event and your series points leader coming into freestyle. Alright. Experts are going to give Camden Murphy's run a 6.25. Let's see what the fans give it. Let's see, one fan says 5.395. Let's see if there's another fan score. Alright, looks like that's the only fan score for that run. So that score for Classroom Crusher of 5.823. Not enough for that top spot. Huge bummer for Camden Murphy because he was so close to getting his first overall event points championship of the year. But unfortunately, he just could not keep that run going. Well, fans, only one freestyle run remains. He's your overall points leader on the series, and he's en route to become an overall event champion. Please welcome Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. Tim Hall Jr. coming off of a huge two-wheel skills win that picked him up quite a lot of points. And now, coming into freestyle, he might be looking at an overall event championship, his first one of the season. If he can do that, then every single overall event championship on this tour of the year so far will have gone to an independent rising star. Tim Hall Jr. off to a great start. I'm liking the technical moves fit into this freestyle run here. Those are definitely something that add to the overall completeness of a freestyle. Tim Hall Jr. and the Jurassic Attack going very big out here right now. Alright, 1 second here, fans. Clock is paused at, what is that? Whoops. Clock is paused. We're just going to very quickly move Tim Hall Jr. off the wall. His run is not ended, but once the drivers get on the wall, it's kind of hard to move off of it, so we're just making sure that he can resume the rest of this run fairly. Alright, Tim Hall Jr., he's refired. He's back up and running. Huge air for the Jurassic Attack. So Tim Hall Jr., now he's going to be extra fired up because the flow of his run just got killed by that. And he really needs to get a good score now to try and win that overall points championship. Let's see what he can do here. Whoa, a crazy bounce for the Jurassic Attack, but he's going to make it work out for him. And now he's got about 50 seconds left to just try and make something happen here in freestyle. Let's see what he can do. Nice save. Looks like he might be down a tie rod in that front end. I'm seeing something hanging down that shouldn't be. More huge air for Tim Hall Jr. He's going to get a crazy save, but that's going to do it because he does have a broken 4-link bar. Fans, let's hear it for Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. Well, it was a spectacular freestyle run while it lasted. I'll say that much. He had all sorts of crazy moments in there, and that last hit was sick. But he is going to leave 24 seconds unfilled, and maybe just a little bit more to be desired out of that run. Now, fans, don't forget, if you're new here on the channel, there is a special encore still coming your way. But first we got to figure out that score for that last run of the night as Tim Hall Jr. looks to potentially go home with an overall event championship today. Alright, last call for scores here. Not seeing any coming through, though. This one might be one for the experts. Alright, there we go. Scores are closed for that freestyle competition. Alright, let's see. Experts are going to give that run a 9.1. Fans are going to give it let's see, a couple of fan scores actually, so I'm going to have to do some math here. That score for Jurassic Attack, a 7.999. What a tough break for Tim Hall Jr. He really did try his hardest tonight in freestyle, but leaving so much time on the clock. Unfortunately, it was just not going to be his lucky night. Well, now we are going to have to count up all these different scores we just saw, and I'm going to figure out who that overall event champion is and who your new season points leader is, because we just determined both of those throughout the course of that freestyle competition. By the way, I don't know who was in the judging panel today. Tim Hall Jr. is only getting 5 points from freestyle. That is insanely low. Unfortunately, he just got a super low score, and that is gonna hurt him big time in his points race here, as I am continuing to look through all these different scores and figure out who that overall event champion is. Alright. Alright. Interesting. A lot of interesting things happening here. Very quickly, I'm just going to put everything into the series standing so I can see where everyone's sitting. Very interesting things happening in points right now, actually. A lot of drivers being moved around in some interesting ways, as far as the series chase goes. Unfortunately, Tim Hall Jr.'s freestyle score is not going to allow him to become that new series points leader. He was very close, but it's not going to happen here. Alright. Sorry, this is the part that takes the longest because I have to add up all the different scores from the night. And then we're going to go on for our encore. Alright. Let me very quickly lay out the points. Huh. Wow. Very interesting things happening in points here. I'm making sure I have everything in overall standings order so that I can say where everyone is, where everyone placed in this show, and then I'll break it down for what it means for the actual series. So, John Gordon walks home with a good amount of points today. Yeah, big time points for John Gordon. Unfortunately, Ryan Anderson still struggling on his anniversary tour. Wow. So here's something interesting. Coming into the show, Colt Stevens and Cole Vennard had the exact same... Or no, they didn't. Well, coming into the show, Colt Stevens and Cole Vennard were pretty close in points. And they actually got the exact same amount of points today. So I'm assuming they're still going to be paired together in the broader scheme of the points chase. Blake made up some good points today. Weston Anderson's insane move, still definitely that moment of the night. Mike Pagliarulo able to outperform Ryan Anderson today. Oh! Wow! So actually we have a new overall event champion today. Well, I mean, we already knew that, but we actually have a tie for overall event champion that I'm actually very excited to discuss because it's actually not so far off from real life. Alright, where's Jim sitting? 22. Tim Hall Jr. was able to pick up 33 points. If he had just placed 2 places higher in freestyle, he would have been your overall event champion. That's super rough for him. Alright, hold on. I think this is everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, this is everyone. Here are your overall placements for the event. Your overall event champion with 35 points was Bari, Musawwir, and Zombie. However, he actually got the same amount of points as Tyler. So technically speaking, there is a tie for the overall event championship tonight. But it's going to be going to Bari, Musawwir in terms of the announcement. In third place, Tim Hall Jr. with 33 points. In fourth place, Camden Murphy, Classroom Crusher with 30. Fifth, Weston Anderson, Bog Hog with 29, tied with John Gordon. In seventh place, another tie between Zack, Garner, and Blake Granger, both with 27 points. In ninth place, Jon Zimmer Jr. 26. 10th, Jim Koehler with 22. 11th, Bryce with 21. 12th, Mike with 20. In 13th, there's a 3-way tie between Ryan Anderson, Cole Vennard, and Colt Stevens. They all got 19 points. And in last place tonight, Chris Koehler. Obviously, he missed the whole competition. Currently, your podium in the season points chase, leading the season right now, Tyler, Menninga, and Gravedigger with a total of 67 points. Currently sitting in second place, Jon Zimmer Jr. in terminal velocity with 63. So although Jon Zimmer Jr. got knocked out of the top spot, he is still very much going strong here. And then in third place, we have a tie between Weston Anderson and Tim Hall Jr., both with 61 points. So the points chase is looking super interesting right now. A lot of very close things and things to look out for. Actually, I was incorrect. I said Blake Granger got 27. I forgot he actually had a penalty today of 5 points, so he only got 22 points. That doesn't change too much, but it definitely does affect some things in the overall. Anyway, that means Blake only has 42 points on the season. We're going to go into the encore. This has been a great stream, but it's definitely been a long one as well. So I hope you fans are ready, because Ryan Anderson is still celebrating 15 years of his very own identity. And as this tour goes on, Ryan Anderson is going to get his own encore just like this at every single event of the year. Just like on the other tours, El Toro Loco is getting its own encore at each event. So, Ryan Anderson coming out here looking to deliver for this encore as he celebrates his truck. Great air for Ryan coming out here. It's not a freestyle run, but he's just going out here having fun with it, it looks like. I am noticing Tim Hall Jr.'s truck is interestingly still on the track. Ryan Anderson, I think, has spotted that too. He is going to clear Jurassic Attack with some huge air. Very nicely done by Ryan Anderson. And he's going to clear it from a different angle. Ryan is having a ton of fun with that Jurassic Attack truck left out there on the track. He's going to do it again. He is just hitting this thing every which way that he can. Spinning that truck around now. He might be going in for angle number 4. Yes, he is. Ryan Anderson just cleared Jurassic Attack using every possible face of that ramp. That is what has made Ryan Anderson such a great driver. I mean, there are very few drivers who would really be willing to do something so daring, but Ryan Anderson going to be one of the few. It's backflip time. Nice. That's what I love to see for Ryan Anderson. Oh, that truck's not shifting to second. It might just be stuck. Yeah, Ryan Anderson. No way. He's going to cross-thread over Jurassic Attack. That is incredible. Definitely still struggling with that transmission a little bit, but it is not slowing him down one bit in this encore. Man, if only Ryan Anderson could have done this for his real freestyle. He is just going insane right now. Up and over, back on all 4 BKT tires. Don't forget, Ryan Anderson's not on a time limit right now. He gets to go out there for as long as he possibly wants to. For as long as that truck survives, I guess I should say. Knowing Ryan, probably won't be much longer, but he is just throwing this truck at everything he possibly can as he puts an end to what has been a very, very crazy event, and that is going to do it for the encore from Ryan Anderson, closing out this show. Well, fans, I hope you all had a good time here in Arlington. We had all sorts of insane things happen with the point standings, just with wow moments in general. Some of the best runs of the year. I think Weston Anderson had one of the craziest moments I have ever seen on one of my tours with that crazy nose pick backflip into save. All in all, super great event here in Arlington, Texas. I hope all you fans had a great time because the competition was at the next level today. We have not seen a show this chaotic in a while. So, fans, I hope you all enjoyed. Super fun show in Arlington. Thank you everyone who came to score. Thank you, Isaac, for sticking around for the whole stream and for being at so many of the streams lately. Because without people scoring, it's not half as fun or exciting. But with people here to do some scoring, it's a lot more fun. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time with more monster truck action. Points will be posted soon.